Emily Ross, Shakespeare on the Patio. Take one. Action.
You always make me start laughing. Hey, this is Emily Ross. Thank you for joining. If you haven't already, hit subscribe, and don't forget to adjust your notifications so that you receive all this free mental health content. And I know you're having a really fun time learning about all these great ways to improve your mental health. This is one of my favorites. I've been waiting to do this for years and years. When you are a therapist for such a long time, and I've been doing it over 20 years, you tend to explain concepts sort of the same way over and over again. And I've been using this metaphor to explain emotions for so long, and I've never had a visual to go along with it. So I'm super, super excited. So I started to explain to Matthew how I teach this in therapy. And so I was talking about, this is our brain. And when we experience emotions, we don't really experience them one at a time, but usually one emotion's in the spotlight, right? One's big and kind of takes center stage. So if you're coming in with anxiety, it's probably anxiety who's taken center stage. And so I made these little characters. So this is depression and anxiety. I tied them together because in 20 years of doing therapy, I have never seen depression in the complete absence of anxiety, and I've never seen anxiety with the complete absence of depression. They're little toxic BFFs that tend to hang together. So I tied them together because that's how they really are. So one of them will usually take center stage, but the other one's kind of lurking somewhere else. And I need one of those hooks to like pull them off stage. So I'm going to teach you really about most people's brains, and then I'm going to teach you about mine. So the emotions are down there, and most of the time there's one or two taking center stage, and those are the emotions you actually feel and tend to over-attribute other emotions to. So I find a lot of the times with anxiety, people will overgeneralize anxiety. So they'll be going to do something they like going to talk to people or going to an event, and they'll be feeling like a nervous anticipation, which I think is great. I love that feeling. It gets me all revved up. I'm excited to go. And people will overgeneralize that as anxiety. And so what happens is if you're feeling nervous anticipation and you label it anxiety, you invite anxiety and thereby depression or sadness to the show. So when you mislabel something, you're inviting them to the spotlight. I don't think that's a good idea. I think we shouldn't do that. And so learning emotional granularity is a way to prevent that from happening. And we're going to talk a lot about emotional granularity and that emotions wheel, the dreaded emotions wheel. So with trauma, what happens is, this is other people's brains, not Emmy's brain. With trauma, what happens is we get very disconnected from our emotions. Maybe not the first traumatic incident we go through, but over time, if you have chronic trauma, you disconnect from your emotions. Because if you think about it, it just makes logical sense. If I'm emotional, if I'm sad, or if I'm anxious, I'm not going to be able to fight for my life as well as if I'm only paying attention to staying alive. So what happens is over time, we disconnect from our emotions, which are what? Feelings in your body, sensations in your body. So when you disconnect from that, you don't know what you're feeling, and you tend to guess or mirror what you think people are wanting you to be feeling in those moments. So I'm going to show you my little fun brain. This is Chaos. She has a cape because I love her. She's actually not on the emotional granularity wheel, which I think is ridiculous. She's been my best friend through my whole life. She's what protects me after multiple traumas. So I'll get an emotion like sadness for a millisecond, and anger will pop up to defend me, right? And hide sadness behind me. And so I'll act angry, and you'll see anger so that sadness doesn't have to come out, because sadness is real shy. She doesn't really love to be in the spotlight. We'll put her over there hiding, right? So in my brain, and in a lot of people's brain who have had chronic trauma, we will tie up emotions. Guess which emotion this one is? We'll tie them up and stick them in the corner because we really only want to feel what we're comfortable feeling. And for me, it was something I labeled chaos. I don't really know what she'd be attributed to on the emotion wheel. I was looking before we started the episode, like, where is she? I like the feelings, so I would put her in with happiness and joy and excitement. I think I'm not supposed to like it. So other people might put it over with anxiety and stuff, but I don't feel anxiety as an emotion. Even still, I haven't really reconnected to that one because, like, who would do that on purpose? So you see she's in a cape and she's kind of disguised. She's disguised because I'm not really sure where she fits on that emotional wheel, and I know I'm not supposed to love feeling chaotic, so I work on that. So this is the way your emotions work. And when you understand that, and when you understand that all the emotions are there, see, they're down here, but they're really up here on stage. All of them are available to you. There's 34,000 emotions. So all of those different nuances of emotions are available to you, and which one you have in center stage is how you come across to others, or what you say you feel, right? Most of the time it's what we're thinking, but we say that that's the sensations we're feeling in our body. So if you have an emotion in center stage that you're uncomfortable with, right, that you don't want to feel, you can invite someone else up there, like peace or compassion's a good one. I don't think compassion would be green. Let's make compassion yellow too. Bring compassion, self-love, and peace in to that sadness, or what emotion did I say, Matthew? I don't know. To whatever the blue guy was. Invite those emotions into center stage. Welcome them in. You can do that with practice. So invite other people, other emotions to the stage to help sadness, like feel better. So you have a lot more power and control over your emotions than you think you do. So 2 things I want you to take from this. One is I want you to learn that when you're feeling something like anxiety, no, anxiety's tied up. When you're feeling something like nervous anticipation and you overgeneralize it to something like anxiety, you're inviting anxiety to the show. And we usually don't want to do that. Most of us don't love feeling anxious. So if instead you learn the nuances of the different sensations in your body and you learn, oh, this is nervous excitement, I can invite happy on stage with that, because I can be happy that I'm excited to go do this, whatever made me nervously anticipate it. So that's number 1. Number 2, I want you to learn that in chronic trauma, we tend to have emotions tied up and hidden and gagged in the corner somewhere. And that is not good for us, because what happens is our body and our mind and our spirit all work together. And so if we're not processing, if we're not giving them their turn in the spotlight, they will root up in our body somewhere and wait patiently for us to be ready to acknowledge them and process them out. They will wait forever. We can't outwait them. We can't smart them. They will just wait patiently forever. And as we age and as we accumulate more and more trapped emotions, it does more and more damage to our bodies. And that in turn comes out in ways we act and ways we behave, and the physical ailments and dis-ease. So it's not wonderful. Although feeling disconnected to your emotions can feel safer for people with chronic trauma, it's not a great plan to do long term. Oh wow, I just kicked that bad emotion off the stage. That's very Freudian. Ha 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 ha. So ask your questions in the comments. I'm sure this is going to bring up a lot of questions. Usually when I'm with somebody, it's dynamic and they can ask me in the moment, so I'm not sure what I'm not remembering to tell you. So ask your questions in the comments and let's start a conversation. Join the conversation. You can pop over to the Facebook page, hit follow, and get some content over there and let me know what I need to clear up according to this little demonstration, my little chaos girl. Don't forget to hit subscribe. Again, Emily Ross LPC. Hit your notifications so that you get all this free mental health content, and let me know what else you want to learn about. Thanks for tuning in. Matthew, you're supposed to come dance. Let's all vote if we want Matthew to dance. Did that make sense?